Hi Shay, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you fine. Can you hear me, Carl?
Yes, I can. Yeah. So this is I'm Carl from the Nimbus Center. I'll be doing the moderation,
Okie dokie. That
technical
sounds good.
moderation more than anything, managing the chat and yeah, so on, making sure everything goes
Okay.
okay. When should be on at some point too as well.
Okay, no worries. I thought I'd just sort of connect up and sort of like be here for whenever he arrives. Like while I'm waiting, I'll work on some other things that I can be doing.
Very good.
So yeah, and here, let me just see if I can do my presentation, because when I did it before, I didn't do it very well. I'm just gonna click here. I don't know what happened here. Let me try it. Okay, I do that. I think it was the, okay, that goes like that. So, hang on a second. Where was the, I go here. So if I do share my screen.
Yeah,
So can
that
you see my
works.
screen?
Yeah, well, I can see the presentation.
You can see you don't see my notes, do you? You just see the,
No, I see just EC, the development of international
oh,
digital
okay,
marketing.
okay, okay, okay,
So,
okay, okay. Oh, perfect. Okay, so let's see if I'm capable of unsharing. Stop share. Okay, so if I want to share again, okay, I'll just leave it like that. Yeah, last time I got into a bit of a, I don't know, didn't seem to work. Okay, no worries, Carl. I know it's early where you are, but it's sort of late here, so I got
yeah,
myself a coffee so I don't fall asleep. So anyway, how are things back in Cork?
good. Yeah, yeah.
Are you from Cork yourself?
I'm from Cork. Yeah. It's
Okay,
where are you from in Ireland?
Bishopstown Road.
Oh, really? Okay. I'm from Ballincollig, so not too far away.
Yep. So you probably know my cousins, Terry and Tomas McCarthy.
I wouldn't bet on it.
Like, do you know anything about the Cork Youth Orchestra?
No, no.
You know there is a Cork Youth Orchestra, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, okay.
That's about as far as my knowledge goes.
Oh,
I
okay,
should
okay.
probably know more. I did a master's in the School of Music in Cork. But
Are you serious?
yeah.
School of Music. So hang on, I've been to the School of Music is where they're based, right? So,
Mm.
so what instrument were you doing in the School of Music?
I didn't do an instrument. I did
Oh, just studied.
music and technology. So I did a
Oh.
master's in science.
So that would explain it then. Yeah,
Yeah, I
you
felt a bit
sort of like take a left.
I
Yeah,
felt a bit
they wouldn't be.
out of touch, yeah, with most of the students in there. You know, they were all expert musicians, and I was not up to scratch on the performance side of it. But
I just realized now. Yeah, I could say I'm a digital musician. Like I haven't got a note in my head, but I could say, yeah, I'm a digital. I'm a musical. Yeah, I've always felt a little bit, yeah, kind of inadequate because in my whole extended family, everybody's musical except me.
yeah,
But yeah, so I got. So what secondary school did you go to?
to Ballincollig Community School.
Oh, Ballincollig Community School, of course, of course, of course. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, when I lived in Cork, Ballincollig wasn't even. I don't know if it actually existed, but it was. They were just building it up at the time. So yeah,
Yeah, no, it
they
was
they
very small.
they were just building up CIT when I was. Yeah, so my cousin's house would look down on CIT from up in Bishopstown. But anyway,
Oh,
so
that's
what are
good.
you studying in CIT at the moment?
I'm working in the Nimbus Center.
Oh, in the Nimbus
So
Center. Oh,
yeah,
okay, okay. Anyway, I won't bother you because you probably. Oh, and there's more people there.
yeah,
I'll go on.
we'll
Yeah.
leave them
I'll.
in the lobby until 15:15 when we're due to start.
Oh, okie
I've
dokie
left a
dokie.
message in the lobby just to let them know.
Okay, so hang on, time check. It's only 5 or 6 minutes away.
Mm.
So will it just be you, me, and Jack and Jesse?
We should hopefully get more than that.
Oh, no worries. For me, I'm perfectly fine with like keeping it like
That's
for
very
the
good. That's
family
very
around the
good.
fireside. Yeah.
Yeah, there were about
I
I think 14 on the last workshop just before this, so I'd expect maybe
right,
similar
right.
numbers. So
Okay.
marketing's probably a popular topic, so I'm thinking that might draw a few
Yeah.
people.
Personally, I hate it. Yeah, not really my thing, but I find myself in fucking marketing again after doing my best to avoid it. But anyway, well, I will let you do your job. I won't bother you. I'll go on mute or whatever, and whenever you need me, uh, I'll be watching the clock anyway, just
Okay,
in
no
case.
problem.
Okay, I'll leave the screen on. Talk to you in a
Sure.
minute.
Hi, Wayne. Just let you in there before we start in 2 minutes.
Hi, Shay. You all set?
Yep, all ready to go.
Excellent, yeah. Oh, you have Chinese now as well. Great, great.
Oh, that I didn't put that in. Somebody would have put that in.
That's me. Yeah, I prepared these slides for each of the presentations.
You did well, Carl. You did well.
Thanks, thanks. I think, Shay, when you go to share, it'll override what I have shared anyway.
Okay, no worries.
Or maybe I'll just stop sharing just when you start presenting anyway. It's the best thing to do, I think.
Okay, no worries. Whatever you think is best.
Okay.
No problem.
So yeah, so 5 people, 6 people on the waiting room already. Let me get them in.
Okay, so it's 12:15, and we have our first few guests, so we can start now if you'd like, Shay. So
Okay.
this is going to be Shay O'Sullivan, the founder and CEO of EC Centre, presenting the development of international digital marketing under pandemic crisis. I'll hand it over to you.
Okie dokie. Okay. Hi, everybody. So, okay, first off, I should make a disclaimer. Digital marketing isn't my passion as such. I'm not a digital marketeer by nature. In fact, I'm a programmer, and over many years, I started off in internet as a programmer, then an analyst, then a consultant, and I ended up becoming the head of marketing in internet and e-commerce for Compaq Computers and then HP in Spain. But I really didn't like marketing very much. I just wanted to get back into the trenches, back into the programming and the analysis. So, and that's exactly what I did. I left Compaq and HP back then, and I did a .com and did virtual commerce and blah, blah, blah. I did a few .coms and always on the programming side. So what's happened is I'm going to tell you a little bit about what happened, how the China EC Centre came to be. And the China EC Centre is basically something that, despite my best intentions, has evolved into a digital, international digital marketing agency. And so I think we're all doomed to become digital marketeers. So might as well embrace it. So let me tell you a little bit about EC Centre. Again, I'm not an expert on digital marketing as such. So I know probably a lot of you guys have studied it. I'm unfortunate. I'm a digital marketeer by force, and I've just arrived here because it's inevitable. Okay, so let me share my screen with you. I prepared a small presentation, and let's see if, okay, so can you see that presentation? Yeah?
Yep, we have that.
Okie dokie. Okay, so let's go. Hang on, bear with me for a second. Yeah. Okay, so okay, let's talk a little bit about how I've gotten to this point in EC Centre China. So there was a little bit of history. The 2 BC, before the COVID, it was a different world. There was, let's say, a stable economy in the West. Stable, but I remember in Ireland, people were getting worried about the house prices booming again, and they weren't building enough houses or whatever. But I spend more time. I have a company in Spain, so I spend a lot of time in Spain. And in Spain, people were just managing to survive. It was stable, but it was stagnant. So they were not good times. Everybody wants to go back to the good times, but certainly maybe in Ireland, maybe in Dublin, things were going well. But in in a lot of Europe, people had just basically gotten used to living on the breadline. They'd sold their second car or their camper wagon, as did one of my customers, just to sort of make ends meet and reduce his expenses. So the Western economy was stable. What was true is that the Chinese economy was dropping, basically because of the lack of demand in the West, but also because the cost of living here in China has grown. The internal demand really wasn't good enough to replace what was happening, the drop in their exports. So, and then from a digital marketing point of view, okay, when I'm talking about digital marketing now, even though, yes, of course, we do sort of social networks as well right now, but my expertise is really with Google, right back from the very, very start, and specifically in SEO, in search engine optimization, but right back from the very start. I've always been in the SEM space, in the Google Ads, in the search engine marketing space, of course, but usually when it was bad for SEM, it was good for me. And that usually happened every 10 years. Anytime there was going to be a crash, all the SEM and digital marketing agencies would run for the hills. And that was usually when my customers would be very, very happy with me, very loyal to me, and they would weather the storm, no problem whatsoever. SEO is very healthy in the bad times. And SEM is very fickle in the bad times. So before the pandemic, SEM was dropping, okay? And this was interesting because I realized that I was actually getting a lot of business. I was getting a lot of business both back in Spain, but yeah, well, mainly back in Spain at this time, because SEO was just becoming better and better and better. I could see the orders and everything rising and rising and rising. So this also happened to be the time. Oh, actually, and in this graph, so I did a Google Trends here just so that you can see how all of a sudden people are becoming very interested in search engine optimization. And people only become interested in search engine optimization when their normal digital marketing is starting to fail, namely Google Ads. That's when people get very interested in SEO. So SEO is becoming a very popular search term around this period. And what I find, I mean, at the time I didn't realize. I had just, I'd just come to China, but actually China is the one of the main searchers for SEO back in the time. And as it happened, I'd been looking for a way to set up a company here. My initial idea was to set up an EC Center based on B2C. But I realized the Chinese run rings around us. You really have no idea. You cannot imagine how advanced they are in e-commerce. It's not funny. We are so in the dark ages. It is not funny. So I ended up doing B2B websites, the old independent websites, the things I used to do when I was like back in the day, 20 years ago. But of course, I know how to do SEO and I could get very good conversions. I also have my own platform. And with my own platform, I was able to, again, start getting good results for the Chinese customers. So before the pandemic, in the digital marketing, there was definitely an opportunity for a small agency like mine. Well, this was when we opened the EC Center here in China, because the few Chinese people who would listen to me, basically they were not clutching at straws, but there was a big worry in China. The people were very used to spending money, in this case with Google Ads, and getting a return, but that was going south. That was not working, and a few brave souls decided to listen to us about SEO. The interesting thing was that we set up as an SEO agency. And what would happen would be that digital agencies or SEM agencies would bring us as sort of like almost like an entertainment piece at the end of their presentations, or sort of as a, here's an extra service to make up for the bad performance we're having in the SEM. And we started off being invited as the SEO experts with a lot of these big digital agencies. Flash forward to 2020, and now we're the agency that's inviting the SEM, or some of the people who used to invite us to meetings. Now we invite them to meetings and we give them business, because based on the SEO and also based on getting the results for the customer, we've cemented a very good relationship with our initial customers. So now we actually are in control, and now we offer SEO and SEM and SNS, as they call it here in China, which is for the network services for social media. And even now design, which is something I swore I would never do. I don't like web design at all. But yeah, our agency, our company is getting bigger and bigger. And basically we have to give the customer a one-stop shop solution. So yeah, before the pandemic, digital marketing was beginning to maybe flutter a little bit. Something was wrong. Something was not working. And just if you remember back that far, yeah, that was when Google and Facebook and Twitter, they were up in front of the Senate. It was the politicians were chasing after these big tech guys for whatever reason, for data security, blah, blah, blah. So, and it was a time when technology was just evolving normally. It was the typical, oh, 5G, yeah, it's coming down the road, and we'd read about it and we'd read about it. And yeah, it was coming. And yeah, in China, they had it. Things weren't moving fast. It was just normal. What was very disappointing, in my opinion, were that devices. So you've got the technology, but you need the devices. I don't know what, apart from SpaceX and maybe Tesla and some of the crazy Elon Musk ideas like the Hyperloop and the neural chip and whatnot. Like this photo, actually, the iPhone 12 is from this year. I think it was probably iPhone 11 back in 2018-19. But oh my Lord, you know, iPhone 1, iPhone 2. So what? Like in 10 years' time, we're going to have like the iPhone 24. You know, I don't know. It's like technology was rumbling along. Devices, well, I don't know. There just didn't seem to be. I don't think they were good times. I really don't think they were good times. I don't want to go back to those times. I don't want to go back to those times. So then we have during the pandemic. Now, we've just set up this crazy SEO company, which nobody understands here. Nobody in China has a clue why you would use a search engine to search for anything, because they only have one search engine here called Baidu, and they only use that to look at the weather. You would never use a Chinese, if you have a Chinese phone like I do, there are so many apps, you cannot believe it. There is an app for everything. So basically, they want to buy something, they'll use the app. They want to chat or video, or they just go straight to the app. There is no search engine. Funnily enough, this is now Google's big problem, is that we're becoming like the Chinese. And where before we would go to Google to ask them where we can buy the next iPhone, now we just go to Amazon. And that's exactly what the Chinese do. They don't understand why anybody would go to a search engine to search for a product. You either go straight to Alibaba, you either go straight to Taobao or JD.com or Amazon or whatever. So let's get to 2020. 2020, for me, it's a very, I have 3 kids. I have a son in UCC, actually. I have a daughter in London. I have another daughter in Madrid. They're all quite grown up. And all 3 of them living in 3 different locations in Europe, all 3 of them have gotten COVID. So I can't go visit my kids, but China, or from Wuhan somehow, maybe this virus went and visited them. living here in China, the control is just so amazing. It was very strict. It was very, very strict, the lockdown, but the control here is amazing. So even just, I went downstairs to get a coffee because it's quite late here. As I'm leaving the building, I'm chatting with the security guard that's there with this high-tech camera that is scanning me and whatever. I go get my coffee. I come back in, he scans me again, big chat. I can't walk past the camera, even though he just saw me walk out 2 minutes ago. I have to go past the camera. I have to get the green light, and then I come back into my building. That's 1 year after, okay? And I mean, there are incidences of virus, of COVID in China, of course, but I don't know anybody. I have no idea if there's anybody. I don't know anybody who has COVID. Personally, I don't know anybody who has COVID in China. My 3 kids in Madrid, in London, and in Cork, all 3 got COVID. What is happening in Europe? What is happening in the West? So yeah, so 2021, wittingly or unwittingly, China has gotten a huge boost, a huge leap ahead of the West, because here it's just work, work, work. I don't know if you can see it in the graph, but that's a V recovery. And back in April, I was telling all my colleagues back in Europe and my family, my kids, my brothers, you know, my brothers in Cork and Kerry, telling them, take this seriously. This is serious. The good news is if you get through the lockdown, the recovery is total. It's total. And it's pretty much here, all the restaurants and the cinemas, maybe not so much, that they're open, but they took a longer, but all the restaurants and bars, whatever, the recovery was complete, because here in China, they took this really seriously. So for whatever reason that is, China's after getting this huge advantage, this huge jump ahead of the West. So SEM conversions are still dropping. Google is worried. Google's very worried, okay? They're losing the SEM because of lack of investment. A lot of companies, especially in the US, especially in the West, are not investing as much as they used to. But they're also losing a lot, and in an accelerated way, a lot of search to Amazon. So, and then there's something else coming down the road, which I'll talk about on the next slide. It's like, now Apple's going to bring out a search engine. Huawei's going to bring out a search engine. So Google is feeling the pressure, okay? And I know this because Google are here in China. And this is something that, like, I find quite amazing. It's not I mean, it's public knowledge, but it's kind of kept very, very quiet. But there's a huge number of Google people here. They have a big office in Shanghai, very big office in Shanghai, and we speak with Google in Shanghai quite frequently. Now, the main focus of Google in Shanghai and in China, they also have interests down in Shenzhen. The main focus is SEM, okay, SEM, and they're worried. You know, they don't say it directly, but yeah, revenues are, you know, California are telling Google in China, hey, where's the money? Where's the money? And, you know, it's dropping. It's dropping. So SEM is, and digital, similarly with Facebook, although I think Google is probably the most affected. They're still dropping now in 2020 and 2021. So, and SEO keeps growing. Now, again, I'm using a Google Trends graph. There's actually a little bit of a dip there towards the end, which I thought, oh, that's strange. And funnily enough, when I looked at that in Google Trends, it's like China has stopped looking for SEO in that time. So, but personally, I think that's an anomaly. So we're seeing in our SEO conversions continue to rise. They rise slowly. SEO is slow to start, slow to get going. It's not as impressive as SEM, but then again, it's not as expensive as SEM, and it's certainly the conversion, the quality and the conversion rate is much, much higher with the SEOs. But it is a little bit slow, and Chinese customers like to see the graphs going like this. In EC Center, what happened is now some of the digital agencies that used to ask us to join them in their presentations, now we start bringing them to the presentations. And now, in fact, we actually start forming companies with those same digital agencies. So we have been opening more offices. This particular office in November was actually a very key office, because this now makes us, this is an office we have in a place called Nantong, which is east of China, north of Shanghai. We are west of Shanghai. This is north of Shanghai. So this, our partner in this EC Center is an absolute expert on SEM, but especially SEM on Baidu, on the Chinese search engine. I said before that Chinese people kind of use Baidu principally for the weather. It's not absolutely true. I'm being a little bit sort of like facetious maybe when I say that. But yeah, they mainly use it for the weather, but they will also use it for searching for, yeah, maybe some other things. So the only problem is that Baidu SEO is a world of difference from Western SEO. Even I refuse to commit myself to doing SEO for Baidu, because I could do a whole presentation on it. You do not want to know how, if you want to know about black magic and the dark arts, then it's you can I can give you some pointers on SEO in Baidu. But yeah, so the EC Center in 2020 and now in 2021 has moved up a gear. We've gone from being a SEO agency to being a SEO, SEM, SNS, and design agency. Our customers are demanding from us a one-stop solution. And this looks like it's going to be, for us, the future. And as a result, yeah, I have a feeling that we will have to expand a little bit more even. And again, we don't have, I'm SEO is my thing. We have now incorporated some people who are experts in SEM. We have another office here in Suzhou, not far from here, who have also merged with us, and they are experts in SEM. We have maybe about 7 SEM partners right now, that if we wanted to, we could take them over or merge with them. So I think now we have a Chinese New Year coming, and after that Chinese New Year, we will take the next step. What we don't have is foreign resource. That's something I'm just going to say there, because I've been hiring and firing a lot of Chinese programmers because I guess, yeah, I think I need to work more with some programmers from back home. I do have programmers in Spain because of my past, but yeah, what the EC Center philosophy is to have resources in different EC Centers that can be used between each other. Okay, so yeah, we're going to become a digital, a big digital agency, but we're going to offer a myriad of different services. Okay, I think SEO, which is my personal favorite, is what opened the door. But since the future is digital, like I was thinking to myself, you know, the world is flat. Like the digital world is flat because it's basically, it's a microchip, and that is flat. The physical world, I don't know when the poor physical world's going to get everything back in order, but the digital world is going full steam ahead. So yeah, we got to get ready for it. So everything now is accelerating in 2020 and 2021. We see it here in China. We can see how Facebook and Google, et cetera, are getting very, very worried. And the stock market is getting worried a little bit about Alphabet because, Google, people are moving into Google's territory. Apple's working on a search engine. Huawei is working on a search engine. I know Huawei is working on a search engine for a number of reasons, but like an obvious reason is because I can see the Petal bot literally coming in and sort of like trolling all our sites. I'm sure it's happening in Europe as well. My servers are in Europe, so but they're trolling all my sites to try and sort of seed this new search engine that they're trying to build to launch with the Harmony operating system. So of course they're not going to get anywhere near Google yet, but Apple, Apple are already starting to give results from a search engine, a beta search engine that they're working on, and that could be like pretty crazy. So what has definitely happened in 2020 and 2021 is that technology has started evolving extremely rapidly. Here in China, well, of course, I know at home there's 5G as well, but yeah, here 5G is absolutely a reality, and the 5G phones here are just unreal. Again, so there's not a lot of 5G applications available, but yeah, here the technology is moving at an incredibly rapid pace. After the pandemic, so what's probably most likely, especially here in China, or from our perspective here in China, 2022, 2023, Western economy is growing, and Chinese economy will be growing. And also SEM and SEO will be growing, okay? So I'm pretty convinced that by 2022, the digital economy, digital marketing will all be growing. It might be slowly, but it will be all growing. At this point is when our EC Center project in China, needs to have become a international digital agency at that stage. And yeah, that's on us. So we have 2021 to do the big leap forward, possibly merge with some other companies or take over some other companies. And because come 2022, 2023, that's it. That's when we're all back to normal, all back working at the same speed. What I think will be very interesting in 2022 and 2023 is that, who's going to be the leader of the digital world? There's going to be a digital world, and then there's going to be, the planet Earth, the round thing, the world is, and then there's going to be the digital world. So who is going to be who will rule the kingdom, the digital kingdom? So I reckon if maybe 2 years ago, Facebook and Google and Apple and company were being hounded by the regulators, I reckon, that it might be that the tables might be turned. You cannot stop this digital transformation. So I have no idea how the regulators are going to sort of, put a stop to what's coming down the road. So so 2022 and 2023, that'll be my chance to do the next startup. So I certainly hope that EC Center China, along with some other EC centers that we might open in Asia, to support, because like I said, there are certain, China is amazing. It's like the opportunities are just unbelievable, especially to grow. If you're willing to work every single day, the more you work, the more rewards you'll get. Everybody here is working, everybody's receptive to ideas, et cetera, et cetera. But that being said, there's still things you need. Like I cannot, of course, I can't get translators here. It's very difficult to get content creators here. But my idea was to go back to Europe for content creators. But I have legions of digital nomads living just over the border in Thailand, in Philippines, in Indonesia. And so I have a feeling that the EC Center China, like the EC Center network, will need some offices maybe in Asia. Hopefully be able to get the EC Center in Madrid back up to full strength. But there will be a big focus in Asia. And then that is the time to get into the startups. And actually maybe, yeah, 2022. Hopefully you guys will be inventing, or the Nimbus people will be inventing lots of interesting devices. 2024, won't go any further than 2024. But I absolutely guarantee you, nobody will remember the pandemic in 2024. It'll be in the past. It'll be like the 1918 Spanish flu that I studied in the Leaving Cert. And there was a line about it killing more people than the First World War or whatever. And that was it, one line. And then lines and lines and lines and lines about the Archduke of Ferdinand, who Sarajevo, and all this blah, 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 blah that I had to learn off by heart. And one line on the Spanish flu. And I remember thinking, why were the Spanish in the trenches in the First World War? Like, there was a Spanish guy with the flu and he killed more people. How could he kill more people in the war than the war would have ended? So I found it very confusing, but then I just kind of just glanced over it. So yeah, human nature is to just, you just put away those bad things into some recess in your brain and power along. World economy recovers. Then comes the really interesting bit. Hopefully, yeah, this will be a good time to be in some sort of startup with devices. Yeah, what's going to happen? Who's going to rule the world? Will it be Google? Will it be Apple? Will it be Huawei? So some people, I was in one of the meetings or one of the discussions before, and yeah, somebody mentioned how, you know, the convergence, how we're all kind of opening up, that digitally even. Yeah, so you haven't lived in China, okay? So I live in China. You cannot connect to Google in China. You cannot connect to Facebook, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And why would they? They have all the applications they need. They don't need Facebook. They don't need Google. They don't need Amazon. Incredibly, the percentage of income on Amazon from Chinese sellers is ridiculous. The expertise of Chinese sellers, and I know this from personal contacts, you will never be able to compete with the Chinese on Amazon. They know every trick in the book, okay? However, no Chinese person buys on Amazon. Why would they buy on Amazon? All the things on Amazon, they get them in, well, we call it Alibaba, but Alibaba is actually a transformation of the Chinese, the Arling Baba or something, which is 1688, or my Chinese is terrible. The point is, these people, like China, where I live right now, we are living in a world that is absolutely separate to Google, to Facebook, to Instagram, to WhatsApp, etc. Okay? And everybody here is happy. They do not want to go to the West. They're not, oh, no. They are so happy. Everybody outside my window, they're driving Ferraris and Maseratis, and that's not my thing. But the point is, the day that Apple says, Google, I don't need your search engine anymore, and you can, I don't have the figure with me, but the billions, the billions that Google, and it is billions of dollars that Apple pays Google, or sorry, Google pays Apple to have Google search in the Apple phones. It's a lot of money. And Apple tomorrow, if they have a search engine, can just say, okay, Apple users are for Apple, okay? Quite obviously, Huawei users will be for Huawei. So I'm living in a situation where it's not going to be one big, oh, let's everybody share and la 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 la. No, I'm living in a world where they have all the applications they need. There's not a single application from the West. They don't know about them, so they would know what to miss. So there will be different digital worlds, is what I'm saying. Okay, there's going to be a new digital world with digital marketing, but it's probably going to be a few digital worlds. And those digital worlds will be Android or Apple or Huawei, each one with its own phone, its own chip, okay, its own microchip, its own operating system, its own search. And here's something that is really, 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 really important. And this is in digital marketing, okay, and also from the point of view of search. The future of search, okay, is experience. One of Google's key core strategies for the algorithm right now is a thing called EAT. Okay, so we've got IoT and this is EAT, expertise, authority, and trust. The future is not going onto a search engine and writing in, doing your research. And the future is you just say to your car, what's the answer to this? Where's this? Why? You're going to talk to your car. You're going to talk to your phone. You're going to talk to your Alexa. So that is the future. And the response that comes back from the search engine must be expert, must be an authority on the subject, and it must be trustworthy. So if I say, what vaccine should, or what temperature should this be? The result that the search engine gives back has to be perfect, because if I get sick because of a bad result from the search engine, so the idea of going into Google on a PC and searching, that's fine at the moment, but the evolution is towards digital experience. So yeah, technology, devices, here in China, IoT, 5G, and AI. AI, there's big data. In China, there's no shortage of big data. So yeah, we're actually working on an AI version of our EC engine right now, which is what we're trying to do is get information out of the big data that we're collecting from our EC engine platform. Devices, and yeah, so the future of digital marketing. I really believe that the future of digital marketing is going to be going towards experiences across multiple devices and multiple technologies. It's going to be really complicated. It's going to be really, really complicated. Google has already announced that in May of this year, it will go from its metrics will go to search insights, okay, which are basically experience metrics. So we're going to go from search engine optimization to search experience optimization. And our digital marketing, I'm pretty sure, is going to be going again towards digital experience marketing. And maybe when I'm trying to explain the difference in a simple presentation, you guys are all probably much more intelligent than I am, but sometimes in a presentation, I'm trying to explain the difference between like an algorithm and experience. And of course, an algorithm is it's correct or it's incorrect, it's good or it's bad. And an experience is sort of like, I love it or I hate it. It's more emotional. But sort of, I like Google, okay? I don't love Google, I like Google. But yeah, people tend to love or maybe hate Apple. They tend to love, especially in China, they might love Huawei. I don't know if anybody loves Google. I like Google a lot. Maybe I do love Google. Yeah, okay, I'm weird. I don't love it. I like it a lot. But yeah, the future is experience. So the future is making the customers have a good experience. So no more good, that's probably the wrong word. So good and bad is algorithm. Wonderful, loving, caring experience is is the future. So I hope that that wasn't too random. If you have, so let's open it up now. If you have any questions that you want to ask me, and we can get into more details on how we do the actual digital marketing. So yeah, I'll hand it over to whomever, to Carl, and you can, if anybody has any questions, if I haven't put you all to sleep, you can let me know and I'll be more than happy to answer.
Yeah, so thanks, Shay. Thanks very much for the presentation. It's great. We have a message from Jack Regan in the chat, who asked, what advice would you give to a digital marketing agency in Cork who provide SEO and digital marketing services to small businesses?
Oh, wonderful. Okay, yeah. So right now, the combination of SEO and SEM is perfect. Okay, SEM is down, and you know that better as much as I do, because you're probably seeing it. SEO is where you have to focus your attention now. So but the interesting thing is, over a year ago, Google already realized that it needed to optimize the landing pages for the SEM. So what was happening is that you were getting a better price per click if you had an SEO optimized landing page. Okay, now that was a good year, more than a year ago now. So, we have a partner company here, an SEM company that's all an EC Center member here, actually very, very close by. And I will go and help them, because now Google, not only will they charge you more money if your landing page is not SEO optimized. In the case of this partner, they were actually blocking the ad. Google refused to take the money because the landing page was basically, maybe dangerous isn't the word, but it was yeah, there was actually spam. There were spam links hidden by the Chinese web supplier had hidden these spam links in JavaScript in the code. And so before, Google would turn a blind eye to this because they wanted the money, but now Google demands that your landing pages are SEO optimized. So what's happening is that SEO and SEM are coming closer and closer together. So you will have seen how Webmaster Tools went to Google Search Console, and you'll have seen how GA3 has gone to GA4, okay? And now you're probably realizing that in February, well, so you're probably using GA3 and GA4, Google Analytics 3 and Google Analytics 4. You must use Google Search Console. You have to be using Google Search Console. And all these desks that you see behind me, all these people that are all trained up on Google Search Console, a little bit on Google Analytics as well, but mainly on Google Search Console. So what's happening is if you look in your Google Analytics and you'll see the insights, okay, the insights, what's happening is now Google Search Console is going to Google Search Insights. And those two products will merge in May of 2021. So if you go to the Google Search Console, you're going to see the Core Web Vitals, okay? So if you're in digital marketing, you have to come into my world of SEO. And if I want to get into digital marketing, I have to go into the user experience, okay? I'm an expert at knowing what the robot wants. You guys are experts at knowing what the end user wants, but you have to come into my world, and I have already started going into your digital world, okay? I've had to learn about user experiences. In the Google Search Console, all the new metrics, the Core Web Vital metrics, are all user experiences, okay? So before it was, this is a good page, this is a bad page. Now it's the user loves this page, the user hates this page, the user kind of likes this page. It's all experience metrics. And all these experience metrics, it's already in beta. I'm not on the beta, I'm trying to get on the beta, but it's already in beta called Google Search Insights, okay? So what you have to do is first big into Google Search Console, #1 focus on mobile friendly errors and Core Web Vitals, okay? And then get ready for the merging of GA4 and Google Search Console into the Google Search Insights for May. It will be delayed, I'm sure. It'll probably be June, but yeah. So my advice to you is if just learn Google Search Console, study Core Web Vitals, and get to GA4 and go for user experience. And mobile. Here in our office, most of the screens rotate because from February, you'll probably have seen that as well. Google will only take the content on the responsive version of your website, okay? So if for whatever reason, when you rotate your screen, you change the content or lose the content, that's the content that Google will be indexing, okay? So yeah, so mobile friendly and Core Web Vitals in your Google Search Console. You've got until the end of the year to really get that, well, the end of the year, until the summer to totally study that. Then during the summer, the whole, it'll be all experience. Everything's going to be experience. And then coming out of it into next year, you'll be an amazing digital agency because you'll be giving search experience optimization and digital experience optimization. Okay. I hope that answer wasn't too long.
Thanks, Shay. So we're officially out of time at 1 p.m., but we have another question, a very specific one from Pasindu, and we'll see if you have an answer for this, which is, what are the best channels to promote an app for Chinese users around age 22 to 40?
Whoa, yeah, that is a good question. Okay, you can message me on that and I can get you more information on it. But yeah, that's something that, for example, I would not feel confident of being able to do. That's why I need to have, so for example, our Nantong office are just unreal when it comes to using the Chinese channels. We're very, very good here internally using WeChat, etc. But I can find out the way to do it. The problem is you have to do it through an agency here in China. It's not something that you're going to be able to do from the West. You can study it and like research it or whatever, but you're going to need a Chinese server. You're going to need Chinese ID, and to do that, even I need a Chinese ID. Well, actually, no. For a server, for an actual server, I have to have a Chinese ID. Even my company ID won't work. There has to be a physical Chinese ID that will go with it. But it's okay. We have Chinese IDs in this company. So to actually, if you're going to market an application from the West here, you really have to go through an agency that is physically here. So good news, you can, if you talk to me, I will, one, I'll get you the information of how you would do it if you were here. And two, I can give you an idea of what agencies you could actually speak to, because there are, I do know other agencies. I know one agency, for example, in with an Irish GM who actually does exactly that. He does it for very, very big clients who want to send apps into the Chinese market. But yeah, that's what I was saying before. Some people kind of think that, oh, the world is open and we'll be like, no. There is a wall around China, a digital wall around. Okay, so I can't do Baidu SEO in here unless I have European servers. I must have a Chinese server to do Baidu SEO, for example. So but contact me offline. I'll explain it in more detail. I'll tell you what the steps are that you have to do here, but of course you'll have to do it through an agency that is here. But you should do it ideally like you need to find somebody you can sort of, well, I can be your first stepping stone, but I can put you in touch with people in Shanghai or even with Chinese companies as well that do it. Or I can see if we can find a partner that does it.
I'm going to leave your email address in the chat if you don't mind, so that they can
Yeah,
contact
no,
you,
no, no,
even
no,
though
no. Yeah.
it shows up on the video, I think, anyway, but just to be certain that people have that.
Yeah, if anybody has any questions about anything, I'm not going to say that I'll be able to resolve it, but I can certainly give you, especially from being here in China, I can give you my my 10 cents worth or whatever. I do have contacts with the Irish Chamber of Commerce in Shanghai also. We're only 30 minutes from Shanghai. So there's quite a cool sort of, it's a very small network, but you know, all the foreigners here, we kind of do know each other. So if you know one of us, we can always find somebody else who can help you out.
Okay, great. Thanks again, Shay. And I hope everyone enjoys the rest of the day. Check out the other workshops, if you like, that are going to be starting in the next 15 minutes.
Actually, Carl, yeah, so it's we still have 10 minutes. So we started at the quarter past.
Sorry, yes. So, yeah. I've been rushing you too much, in fact. So any more questions if anyone has,
yeah,
they can get them in now.
Sure, yeah. And then Shay, thanks again for your great introduction. And then the now it's 9:05 in China time now, so fair play to you.
Yeah, I in my first presentation, I did mention the 997, and like if you during all this conference, it's a cool number to, if you say to a Chinese person, they'll find it quite funny. But yeah, working from 9 till 9, 7 days a week, and I work 9 to 9, 7 days a week. Like that's totally, absolutely 100% normal. And just before my colleagues left the office, so my colleagues, they work from in this case it was 9 to 8, 6 days a week. They work 9-6-6. They explained to me that next week they're supposed to have Saturday off, but they're going to work Saturday and Sunday. They're going to work Saturday and Sunday. Why? Because we have the Chinese New Year. You can see the decorations. So how many holidays do we get for Chinese New Year? We get the princely amount of 7 days. 7 days, including weekend. That's including a weekend. Okay, that's how much you get for your in a whole year, your holiday. And so that they can leave 1 day early, so they can beat the crowds, they have to work on a Sunday. So one of the managers came to me all, not excited, but yeah, we're going to work next Sunday. I'm going, what? So it's just a cultural thing. I'm saying it to you now, and you're all finding it sort of like, ha 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 ha. Trust me. It does make a difference. It does make a difference. So China will blaze ahead in that sense. But what China needs it needs you guys, your brains, okay? And not the brains, the critical thinking. That's the bit that I'm going to give you an example. The other day, they phoned me to tell me that they, in Chinese, I gave the telephone call to one of my programmers, very intelligent boy. He speaks English, takes it, blah, 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 blah. He gives it back to me. And I say, what was the call? They said, it was your insurance company. They say they can't renew the insurance on your car. And I said, why? And he said, he didn't ask why. Nobody asks why, you know? So if the whole team is going in one direction, you don't want somebody going, why are we going in this direction? But you do need, so you need people that go as a team, but you also need people that are going, why did Google do that? Why did Facebook do that? Why did this graph go up? Why did this graph go down? So that little bit of, that's difficult to encounter. So they have here, they have the opportunities, they have the team, they have the resources, they have and they have the will to do all this work. Like, I can't believe how hard they work with a smile on their face. Everybody, it's just amazing. Man, if just some of the sparks that you guys have in your brains, that's they don't have that as much as we do, because we're always sort of like, they're very conformist. I'll give you one more example before Wen kicks me out of the room. I have my telephone. Every Chinese person, every person in this country uses the same maps when they're driving in the car. If you go the opposite way to the way the phone tells you, in this country full of billions of people, you'll end up in amazing places with nobody. So if I do get some free time, my hobby is to drive into West and do exactly the opposite of what the map. Because if this map tells you to go left, everybody here is going to go left. Okay, so I think in Ireland, especially Ireland, I think there's a lot of people, especially Ireland, okay, like a small little California, little Silicon Valley, little Tel Aviv, I don't know, like this little source of brain power, with all these people going, oh, why don't we go right? Okay, but then you need Wen, you need somebody like Wen who can kind of like start opening the doors, so you can take this this kind of analysis, this idea, and then use this kind of enormous resource that's available, an opportunity. So yeah, this is the most exciting part of my. The .com thing was amazing. I've had some like interesting. I set up some companies in Spain as well. That was fun. This is by far the most stimulating period of my whole business life. The last 3 years in China. It must be what it would have been like to have set up in the .com time in Silicon Valley. That's the only comparison I can imagine. It's opportunity. If you work, it's opportunity galore. I will say no more.
Not at all, Shay. Thank you again. Yeah, it's great to have you as a Westerner or an Irish living in China to share your own experience from Westerners' perspective view in your own experience, which is objectively, and so and then the okay. Anyone else have any questions? We can have one more question before we can close this session. Okay, sounds like yeah, everybody's enjoyed the conference, the workshop. So as Shay has shared his email address, so if anybody has any questions, please do share to email him directly. So now and then to get more insight about from him about doing business in China and in Asia. Thank you,
Okay.
Shay.
If you ever come to Suzhou, come visit the EC Center.
Well done again, Shay. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.
See you soon. Stay
Bye.
safe.